50 movies in 50 weeks. I'm your host, Joey Hollywood, and I'm trying to get through all 50 movies in this 50 movie box set from Mill Creek in 50 weeks. The movie I watched today was called The Beast of the Yellow Night from 1971. This movie is rated R, which is very interesting because I feel like the past 3 years, most of the movies we watched have all just been unrated or rated G or PG at the very worst. But this one's rated R, and it does deserve that R rating. This is a tricky one for me. I think I've heard of this movie before. I'm not sure. Going into it completely blind was definitely an experience because I didn't know what was going on for the entire movie. I know some people say the movie felt like a collection of scenes, and that's become kind of like a hacky, dismissive way of critiquing something, and I understand that. But when I say that this movie feels like a collection of scenes that are unrelated, I really honestly mean that. Because I didn't know what was going on. I knew what was going on with one particular character, but because everyone's dubbed, and I think they're all dubbed by the same people, I couldn't tell anyone apart. So then I was just like, okay, who are the relationships between these people? There's so many relationships and friends, and I'm like, I don't know where this is building towards. It's just a collection of scenes, but I'll try my best to relay the plot of it, and I'm going to have to be looking at my phone for most of it because I had to take notes. This is one that I couldn't just remember. It is just weird. And when I say in these videos that I'm like, oh, I'm probably not going to remember this one at the end of the year, I'm going to remember this one just because of how confusing it was to watch it. I may not remember the plot, but I will remember the feeling of watching it, which I guess says something. The movie opens up with this this cave, and I think they're the military or civilians. They go and check it out, and one guy gets left behind, and he keeps on being taunted by this little freak who's trying to taunt him with rotten meat. And I think through this torture, he gets turned into a kind of werewolf-like creature. Now I say I think because I really couldn't wrap my head around what was going on in this movie for the most part. But eventually that guy comes back to wherever his home country is. Everyone's dubbed in this. It's a Filipino movie, which are notoriously just very strange animals. But he comes to his homeland, whether it's America or Germany or Britain, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But he tries to reconnect with the love of his life, and then there's deaths happening around him, and he's a werewolf in anything but the name. And the guy who was taunting him with the meat is there, and he's continuing to taunt him. And it probably sounds more interesting than it is, but it's just a lot of just scenes and nonsensical things. I love nonsensical movies. I love stuff I wouldn't say David Lynch is nonsensical, but because I feel like there's a logic to David Lynch movies. But I like weird abstract things, and I could this is beyond that. It just struck me as incompetent, like they just threw scenes on a floor and scooped them up, and that was your movie. And I really wanted to like it. There's things in the movie to like. I think this would be a more fun movie to do like a Nostalgia Critic or the Spoony One type movie review of, or a Cinema Snob would be a better one. But just as entertainment value, at least for me, I was just like, oh god, this movie is still going on. I don't know what's happening. It's a shockingly very sensual movie. It's rated R for the sex scenes, I think, not so much the graphic violence of any kind. As much as I didn't like this movie so much, it was a nice change of pace from the past several years. I have something to talk about. It's not just 7 peplums in a row. It's It's its own unique animal. I don't think we've done a Filipino movie on this channel outside of 50 movies or in 50 movies. This is the first time I've ever covered a Filipino movie, and I've seen plenty of Filipino movies in my time. But it was nice to actually talk about one, and that's why I'm really, really enjoying the content on this box set so far, because it's actually giving me things to talk about. I know Starman was a struggle, but this is really interesting, and I think I've always really liked the idea of Filipino movies. They're not my kind of exploitation movie. I really like Italian and Spanish films. Filipino and the more Asian movies from this time that are a lot like really strange. There's an alternate version of me out there that's their bread and butter. But for me, it's Italian, Spanish, a little bit of Portuguese and Mexican movies that I've always like when it comes to like weird exploitation movies. That's where I go to. Also the blaxploitation movement in America, but I feel like that's its own little thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one in that sense. Entertainment-wise, not so much. As I was watching, even though I wasn't like really liking it because it was really confusing, I was like, man, I'm going to actually have something to talk about this week. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for now. Still a shorter video than I really wanted to make, but I feel like I'm running out of steam here, and I don't want to waste your valuable time. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Remember, please be kind and rewind.